Alright, I thought I'd talk a little bit about some of the tools that I use for stringing rackets. Not all of these you need. I mean, be honest with you, get a floating clamp, a stick, you can string a tennis racket if you want to. But I'm going to show you what I use, a few differences, a few variations. So I keep a little tray, it's got a little magnet on the bottom, I keep that. So when I'm cleaning clamps and stuff, or I take stuff apart, I take them apart over this. That way if anything, ball bearings, springs, anything falls out, they'll fall in that and the magnet will catch it and they don't bounce all over the place. Some wrenches so that you can take things apart, put things back together. When you start a racket, obviously you got to cut the strings out. You can use nail clippers. I think people use garden shears. These are some Fiskar scissors. I just like the shape. These work really well. I've had them for several years. They're getting dull, but they do still work. They're not really made for cutting string, but they have worked. These are the Babolat string cutters. These are fantastic. I've got a few pair of these. Obviously, and again, they're for cutting the strings out of a tennis racket. For cutting the string while stringing, I'll show you a few of these. These are the Babolat cutters, Snips, I guess. And they work great for Kevlar. And they cut everything. They cut everything. I'll show you. Let me get a piece of scrap string. Okay. So they work great. They'll cut anything. What I don't really like about them is when you do cut stuff, that can actually cut pretty smooth. When you do cut, a lot of times it'll leave that little sharp edge on here, and it'll kind of make it hard to get into holes, or when you're stringing, it'll kind of hang up. But for the most part, I'm trying to demonstrate what I don't like about them. They did actually do pretty well. But I use these are the ones I actually use. I think I got these at either Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and they cut real nice and real clean and real smooth, and that's why I like those. And obviously you can tell I cut everything at an angle because it makes it easier to string and easier to get through the holes. These are the ones that came with the machine, and when you ask which machine, I got a pair of them with the Wilson Biardo machines. Also got a pair of them with the Gamma Progression machine. And again, they work just fine. I don't have any problems with them. They work just fine. In fact, these are the ones that actually stay with my progression machine at the tennis courts. So, and again, you can use nail clippers. You can use whatever you want to. Just anything that'll cut string. Just try to find something that'll cut it nice and smooth. And, oh, I will say though, if you do, I don't string a lot of Kevlar. I have some Kevlar, but I don't string a lot of Kevlar. These cut Kevlar better than these two will. So I do keep them here. Setting off all this, a tool you really don't need if you don't want it. For straightening the strings after you've strung a racket, you can go back, and I just don't like using my fingers because it hurts after a while. So I use a setting off all. You just go in there, and stab the strings, pull them over. But again, you don't have to have that. It's called a setting off all. So if you want one, you can get one. Again, that one stays at the courts. Pliers, I use bent nose pliers. You can use straight nose pliers. Needle nose pliers, I would say, are the best to use, but you can use, I guess, what you want. And that's just for if you have trouble getting string through a grommet, you can help grab with the pliers and push the string along, or you can grab it at the tip and pull it out. So a pair of pliers. Most machines will come with an awl. I don't ever use those. I think they're too sharp. Most of them come to a real fine point. So I always just go out and buy these. I don't even know where I got this one. Lowe's, Home Depot, somewhere. I honestly don't know where I get these at. They typically come in a 4-pack. This is a clutch. I don't know where I got that one from. Anyway, they usually come in a 4-pack. You get a straight one, a 90-degree, one that usually bent this way, and then you'll get a hooked one. So I use this one, and what this is for is if you're stringing, come to like a blocked hole, you can stick this into the grommet and kind of wiggle it around, make a little tunnel that the string will go through. Use it quite a bit. This rarely ever use. Sometimes, occasionally, you might get a string through there that you have to pull back out. This is nice to just be able to get onto the little loop outside the frame, get it under that string, and then pull it so you can get the string out. I'll show you another one I never use. Maybe. This is a Pathfinder awl. So I use this, but if you have a blocked grommet, you can always take your Pathfinder awl. This pulls out and it leaves that empty. But you can stick it through the grommet into the string, then you pull that part out, then you put the string, and I don't know if you can see the hole, but I don't know where the camera's at. But then you can put it into the hole. And then you push the string into there, then you pull this out, and then that'll leave the string outside the frame or wherever you need it. Anyway, I never use this. In fact, it was in the back. I had to go actually hunt for it. Thought I'd show you this. Again, don't need this unless you change out grommets quite a bit. This is a Grommet Grinder. If you have a broken grommet, you stick that in there and twist it. I don't know if you can see it's got teeth on it. You stick that in there and you twist it and it'll grind out your grommet so that you can put in a replacement. I use FedEx on everything. I know a lot of people tell you only need a few sizes. That's probably fine, but they're fairly inexpensive, so I have every single size of FedEx that they make so that I can replace any grommet that comes up. Starting clamps. There's different starting clamps, all kinds of starting clamps. Again, you don't need a starting clamp. You can use a starting knot. I don't like starting knots, so I use starting clamps. Both of these actually came with machines. I don't know which machines. I don't know if they came with the Gamma or if they came with the Wilson, but the Progression and the Wilson Biardos all come with a starting clamp. And these, and you can take the springs off of them if you want to. And these, they're all made in the same factory. Wilson and Gamma's made in the same factory. They have the little inserts in them. Those inserts can come out. I've had one come out before. Just super glued it back in. Never had another problem with it. But they work fine. I mean, no problems with them. Give me a second. Anyway, so that's a pretty basic clamp. This is a Babolat starting clamp. It does not, don't know if you can see in there, does not have the inserts. That's just a textured surface. It is a tighter clamp than what these are. Doesn't feel it, but it is. Got to be careful when you do use starting clamp. When you clamp your string, never put the string down in the bottom. Now, I can't make it happen right here. But if you stick the string way down there, that puts a lot of force on that string. And then if you put a linear force, i.e. pulling tension, if you're putting a linear force on there also, it will stretch and damage this if you leave it on there long enough. So when I do them, I only put them about, I try never to go past the eyelets, but I mean, it'll hold from about, it'll hold from the bottom all the way up to about here. The Gamma clamps, kind of the same thing. You really don't want it on the bottom, but right around the eyelets. If you go too high on these, they will slip a little bit. So just keep the string around the eyelets and they'll hold just fine. But if you ever have a racket that you string, and typically it'll be a miss hit, but if there is a miss hit and it breaks at the knot where your starting clamp was at, check it. And even where I had that Gamma on here just for a short period, it's kind of flattened. I know you can't see it, but it flattened that string out. I don't know, it's not going to show it, but it flattened that string out right here. Just being in the bottom of the jaws. But then if you bend that flat part around the frame and goes into a knot, that creates a weak spot. But I've had a few rackets and I've diagnosed that, and so that, I know how to prevent it now. But I do have people contact me from time to time and ask me, hey, I've had a string break here. Do you know what causes that? First thing I ask, do you use a starting clamp? Yes. Do you put the string all the way in it? Yes. Quit doing that. And then their problems go away. I had a guy ask me how to do a jumper. And so I figured I'd just throw that on here real quick. This is a piece of Kevlar. So all a jumper is a regular starting clamp. That's what the eyelets are for. So just take you a piece of scrap string, Kevlar, whatever. I don't know how long that is. Probably a couple of feet. So this is about 2.5 feet. So 2.5, 3 feet of string. Then take your clamp. Put one end in there, put one end in there, and pull it through. And that will make you a jumper. And if you don't know what a jumper is for, say you're trying to pull your last string and you don't have enough string to reach your the tension head, that's what this is for. You'll clamp this onto the string. Like that. Then these are the ones that you'll run to the tension head. And then you wrap them around or linear pull, stick them into the tension head. That will pull the tension. This will hold onto that string, pull tension onto that string. Then you clamp it off, release tension over there, take this off, and then you'll have that string that you can tie your knot. So that is what a jumper is for. You do not have to have one. Again, you don't have to have a starting clamp if you don't want one. It does make stringing a lot easier. I use them to start all my crosses because I do everything 2-piece, or I say everything, but almost everything. Sometimes I'll get one that they request a 1-piece, or you just can't string 1 piece. But I'll use them to start my crosses. I use them to pull tension on my knots, and you don't crank on your knots. You just put a little bit of tension. Just tighten up the first piece of your knot, and I use Parnell knots on everything. Tighten the first piece. You don't have to try to kill it and break it. Be careful. Don't pull it up against the grommet too hard. You can snap it off. But put a little bit of tension on it. And the second part of the knot, just snug it up. Because the knot's tight. The second part, all you're doing is trying to snug it up so it doesn't slip out. But again, don't need these. You have to have something to cut strings out. You don't have to have anything like this. But you have to have something to cut the strings out of a racket. You don't have to have this, but it saves your fingers. You do need something. Again, don't have to have something fancy, but you do have to have something to cut your string. You don't have to have pliers, but it'll sure save your fingers if you need help pushing through. I'm not going to say you even need this, but boy, it sure comes in handy. Oh, so other things I got a brush for cleaning. Because you got to clean your machine, keep it clean so it doesn't slip. So get you a good brush for cleaning. You can use a toothbrush. A lot of people just use shoestring, whatever. I use a nice little brush. Oil for oiling your clamps, the clamp bases and the post. I use Tri-Flow. You can use other brands if you want to. Tri-Flow is a bicycle chain oil, or this one is a bicycle chain oil. Alcohol for cleaning, shoelaces for cleaning if that's what you want to use, and that's pretty basic tool set. You can get a I can't remember what they call it, the clamp with the little hook on it. You can roll it, but I've never had a need for one of those. I mean, in the olden days maybe, but don't really need it. But anyway, this is what I use. These are my tools that I use for stringing and cleaning. And you don't need all of them, but I use all of them, except for really this one. I use it maybe a couple, 2-3 times a year maybe. But everything else I use. Well, this, I never use that. I've given a bunch of these away, in fact. But yeah. Because these will come with the machine too. Typically when you get the machine in, if you order a machine, if it's a higher end machine anyway, most of them will come with a tool set. And I say most, the ones I've had experience with will come with a little tool set. So you'll get, like Gamma and Wilson, you get one of these, you get some of these, You'll get an awl, but it'll be an ugly awl. It won't be that awl. You'll get a starting clamp. You'll get a straight pair and a bent pair of these, but they're not these. They'll be like a little bitty cheapo. I don't even know if I have any. They'll look like these. There'll be a straight pair, and this is the bent pair. I don't know if you can see that or not. But this is the bent pair. But you'll get those in a little tool set. I don't like these. My wife likes them because she's got tiny little hands, but I don't like these. So anyway, if you have any questions, again, that's my tools and equipment that I use for cleaning. Paper towels. I use canned air, but I'm not going to show you that. And that's about it. Have any questions, feel free to ask.